First Iron Fist, now Luke Cage. What the heck's going on? Let's discuss it. What's up, Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe, guys. I'm your host, as always, C-Dubbs, and guys, we are discussing here today the topic of what's going on with Netflix and Marvel, if you will. Obviously, last week we did get the word that, unfortunately, regardless of all of its steps in the right direction, if you will, with Danny Rand, we are no longer going to be getting a season 3 or any other season of Iron Fist. Me, a little upset about that. I find myself a pure comic fan, if you will. I try to give everything a legit chance, even if it doesn't catch me at first. If there's even a little bit of hope, you know, I'll come back the next season to see. Usually I'll give something, most shows I'll give about 5 episodes, and if there's at least one thing that I like, I'll rough it out to the next season. If I watch it and it just totally just bombs everything, you get that 5 episodes, and then maybe I'll peek back in here and there to see what's going on, and maybe you can catch me at a later date and time. For instance, Gotham, I really tried, and I really just pop in here and there, to be honest with you. But pretty much everything else I watch as religiously as humanly possible. There's only so many hours in the day, and the DVR does get filled pretty quickly around these parts. But overall, I enjoyed the show. The first season, I enjoyed the second season. You could clearly see the steps in the right direction in Luke Cage Season 2 with Danny Rand. And speaking of Luke Cage, this week, as all of yesterday, we got word that Netflix has canceled Luke Cage. And in my opinion, again, steps in the right direction. I think the first season was started off really, really strong, and then by the end it kind of faltered. And here with this particular season, mainly overall, I think it kind of maybe started maybe a little slow, but then picked up really quickly. And the Luke Cage, in a way, does have this way of somewhat kind of just repeating the same old trend, if you will. I mean, he's bulletproof, so everyone's trying to shoot him, so I kind of get that. But I really did dig the vibe and the message that they're trying to get across to, you know, the audience, if you will. So I really did enjoy it. So, as it stands, as of yesterday, or as of last week, I should say, we had 4 Marvel Netflix shows, if you will. Now we are down to, we had 5 with the Punisher. Okay, now we are down to 3. We are confirmed to be getting a Jessica Jones Season 3, but things could change, I guess. That's my personal favorite. Whichever's yours, that's awesome. Daredevil falls in second, and then Punisher, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and then I guess Defenders, if you will. I guess Defenders would make it another Marvel Netflix show. Clearly, we're probably not going to be getting any more of those, since half the Defenders are not there anymore. So what's going on? Let's kind of talk about this. What do we know? What do we think? What are the possibilities of what could be moving forward, if you will? Well, one is they just didn't perform right. They weren't performing well, even though the first episode of Iron Fist Season 2 was one of the highest, apparently, shows they've ever had, and it still faltered. Granted, it kind of dropped off, obviously. Otherwise, if it was making those numbers, it probably wouldn't have gone anywhere. It's just kind of funny, you know, with as popular as superheroes are, and at least I speak for myself and my friends, at least my close-knit friends, you know, we're all kind of dedicated to our shows and to our superheroes. Me, I want to support the cause. For instance, I'm not a fan of this Joker movie that's coming out. I don't like anything that I've seen so far. I believe it'll be a well-acted movie. That's about it. As much as I don't want to support it, I'm going to see it. I'm just going to be honest. I will go and see that movie. It took a while for me to decide I was no longer going to support Fox Marvel with their X-Men franchise, even though that is my favorite fandom in comics. My favorite character is Wolverine. So I'm a very die-hard person, and I try to give as much support as I can to the things that I love, to my fandom. Independent writers, everything. I do my best to try to support the cause and my fellow geeks and nerds, if you will. So I would have continued watching Iron Fist, maybe not initially the day it launched, but I will continue. I would have continued to watch it, and it's no longer with us. And anyone who knows me knows I'm also a huge hip hop head as well. That's probably my second fandom, my second favorite fandom, period. And now I love all music, but hip hop is definitely speaks to me culturally and just personally, if you will. So I loved that element of both of these shows, and even more so, obviously, with the Luke Cage. So it just kind of made me a little sad to see both of these go. And like I said, what could be going on here? So if they didn't perform well, they're just canceled like any other TV show would. Okay, and that makes some sense. And unfortunately, I wish that we would have backed it more, and all of us would have given it better chances and seen where we have gone. And because, you know, who's to say we'll get another one? You know, we may not. You know, we're all hoping for Moon Knight. May not happen. Especially with Disney kind of starting their own streaming service. It won't be probably on a Netflix type of deal. And if it's on a Disney streaming service, well, you know, one of the biggest gripes that most people have is that we can't have different flavors or things for an older audience. We can't get rated R stuff, and even some PG-13 sometimes can be kind of mild PG-13. Personally, I love the MCU. I have no problem with it. I see why things are not rated R sometimes, but some characters need that little gritty edge, and the characters, obviously, that we had on Netflix all could kind of fit that motif. And if we're going to get them now, and the second thing that could be happening is those things that were canceled are going to find their way over to the Disney streaming service, and which would lead me to believe that maybe all of the Netflix series at some point will find themselves over to the Disney streaming service. Now that could affect the way that their grittiness, their darkness, their tone, at the very least, you know, it was something that spiced up the pot of the overall MCU, regardless of how loosely connected they all were. We all knew they were connected. And for most of us, that's enough. Granted, we would all like a little more connective tissue, but with it being a little gritty, it gave us that flavor that some people were lacking, you know? I mean, we all can't get a Deadpool, you know, type of show or film constantly out of our favorite superheroes, but, you know, at least we had something a little darker, a little grittier, a little more down to earth, if you will, with these set of characters. So, again, now, this second option is again to be going to that Disney streaming service, which brings a slew of possible issues, but also, if it's coming back home, there's a chance, and I know that the movie and the TV division are kind of separate, but in all honesty, the more popular that the movies keep getting and Feige keeps getting, honestly, I think it's just a matter of time before he's just kind of overseeing everything that has to do with superheroes. I just can kind of see that happening. Now, it going to the Disney streaming service could mean that, you know, things may get better. You know, we may get a better look and a better feel for Danny Rand if we're going to be getting, you know, an Iron Fist, if you will. That would be absolutely awesome, you know. They know how to treat their characters a little better. As great as the Netflix shows were, there was some slight things off about them. Not so much Daredevil. I think Daredevil's pretty spot on, to be honest with you, and I love Foggy. He's probably my favorite character out of all of them, to be honest with you. So they kind of know what they're doing overall, but there is some slight tweaks that could be done that could make it almost perfect, if you will. And I know that's a bold statement and a bold word to use, but it is possible under the eye of, you know, the actual Disney umbrella, if you will. So that could be a good thing. It may not be all bad if it goes to the streaming service. Now, of course, another bad thing that means is that's another thing most of us are going, especially us here at Comic YOUniverse, one of us is going to have to fork over that money. It's probably going to be me. And that just means it's another thing I have to pay for in order to enjoy the shows that I want to watch. And obviously, they've obtained all of the Fox stuff. So, I mean, there could be some really good content, and it could be really good. And who knows, there may be, I mean, because Fox has rated R stuff. So, there could be different levels on it, and it could be equal to or better than your Netflix, if you will. Another possible option is Disney is the proprietary shareholder to Hulu. we could find some of these shows ending up over on Hulu. We already have Runaways, which I am on the back end of that. I have not watched it yet. Like I said, there's only so much time in a day, but it is my intent. And guys, if my voice happens to crack at night over the weekends in the month of October, as some of you guys may know, me and the wife, we actually work at our best friend's haunted house. So I do a Joker-esque laugh really well, apparently. And so I'm dressed as a clown half the time, a scary clown, obviously. And so my voice may crack, so I do apologize if it's not my normal sound, if you will, because it does feel a little raw after last night was a great night, by the way. Never Ending Nightmare. Check it out if you're in the Orlando area. West Oaks Mall. We are open at 7, and we'll be there till 11 tonight, guys. Check us out. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, too. Sorry, that's just my shameless plug for my boys' haunted house. What's really cool about it, we won 3rd place in all of Central Florida last year, so we're aiming for the #1 spot, guys. So check us out. Hashtag Never Ending Nightmare. Back onto the point of the video. Sorry for the shameless plug. So, going to Hulu. Good thing is, a lot of people already have Hulu. So it's not something they would have to pay extra for. Again, who knows the flavor of the show we're going to be getting if it's going over to Hulu. Are we going to keep the same actors? You know, I personally would like to keep Luke. I don't blame the actor that plays Danny. He can only do with what he's given, and I think he does an okay job with what he's given. And again, he did get better. But if they changed him, I wouldn't be too disappointed. My only thing is, I know when Iron Fist first came out, there was this really stupid backlash of, and I know whitewashing exists, okay, and I know the complexion of my skin, even though I'm not 100% Caucasian. Again, I am part Hispanic as well. So I do understand whitewashing exists, but in Danny's case, that's the character. He's meant to be white. He has to be white. You know, he doesn't have to be white. Him being Asian kind of defeats the purpose. He's supposed to be taken out of context, okay, out of what he knew of his real life and raised by, you know, mystical monks, essentially, you know, and with an Asian background or Oriental background to them. You know, so it is just the way the story is. It's the way it was designed and the way it was told. So I know there was a lot of people who don't know any better, is what I like to say. Just kind of saying it was racist that he was white and this, that, and the third. Look, if he was black, I'd be okay with it. If he was white, I'm okay with it. Claiming that he should be an Asian character. We do have Asian Americans, so it is fine in the grand scheme of things. But that you wouldn't feel as much of a fish out of water with Danny if he had an Asian background, to where maybe his family would have some of that influence. It just wouldn't fit. So again, you know, hopefully if they do change the character, we do still keep the core origin of the character together. And I think it would be okay and would stick really close to the characteristics of Iron Fist, because again, if it went to Hulu or the streaming service, Disney would be in charge. Marvel would be in charge of exactly what's going on there. So that would be another good thing to it. And again, like I said, a lot of us already have Hulu or know someone who has Hulu. And I think Hulu gives you like 4 subscription codes, so you can let your friends see it. I'm not 100% sure on how many, but I do know that I've let people use mine, and people have let me use theirs when, you know, before I had my subscription and whatnot. But again, that is a possibility. Now, another possibility I saw some people online talking about is the fact that as we're moving into Phase 4, and things are supposed to be different than ever, we don't really know what that exactly means. Obviously, they're getting the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, obviously. So that is going to probably be a big focus in 4. Plus, of course, we have your Captain Marvels. We still have Spider-Man, at least for now. Who knows what's going to happen with that? And I think, especially after the way Avengers treated him, people saw some more potential in Doctor Strange. So I think we're moving forward. We're going to get a Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel as kind of the big 2 unless they can renew with Sony and keep Spider-Man. So, but only time will tell there. But with Phase 4 coming in, what if these characters, they plan on doing a full-blown movie of them, you know, which would be really cool, and I would understand why they wouldn't have the show on Netflix, and I would actually commend them for not having that show on Netflix, because nothing bugs me more when you have so many different versions and variations of the same property out there, especially if they're going on simultaneously. Give you an example. Obviously, most of us were not fans of the Bay Turtles, the Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Ogre Turtles, if you will, the Shrek Turtles. Whether you like them or not, whether there were some good parts to it or not, whether I personally think the second one was a little better, just because it was a little more nostalgic, because I got to see more characters. But honestly, at the same time when that movie was out, probably, if not the best incarnation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was being portrayed on Nickelodeon. If not the best, the second best. There's no way that the last show, regardless of the art style, if that was you're a fan of that or not, the stories that were being told there, okay, were some of the best stories I had ever seen on any medium, period. I mean, spoiler alert, for heaven's sakes, they killed Splinter. Like, talk about unbelievably, like something you never thought you would ever see. We went from this more adult, and even though it wasn't completely adult themed, the fan service and everything that show gave us, and then it was so good, and then you get these Bay Turtles, confusing the audience, and I just don't understand why we have to do that. So I would commend Marvel for not allowing or renewing it with Netflix if they were planning on doing a movie. Or what if they're not doing a movie of each of them? What if we're going to get a Heroes for Hire movie? How freaking awesome would that be? That is another option to this dilemma that we're facing as well. So again, I would applaud them if they took it off of Netflix, because we're going to get a big screen version of them. That would be so cool as well. Now, with us talking about Heroes for Hire, the most common conception and thought here is they each lost their individual show. Both shows will be merging, and we will be getting Heroes for Hire, okay, and possibly, you know, Daughters of the Dragon, if you will, you know, who knows, but Heroes for Hire, I would actually like to see that as well. So if that were the case and both shows were merging, hopefully I would say Luke Cage's team would be more of the people that are working on that show would be kind of taking the reins, maybe the writing and everything, the writing team at the very least, because I think that's for the most part where the problems are, is just the choreography and the way things are portrayed over in Danny's show is just a little less desirable to the audience, if you will. So again, that is another option here that we are facing. The two shows could be merging and us getting a whole brand new show just called Heroes for Hire. Fingers crossed, that's probably the most common and might be what happens. But fingers crossed that one of the good options out of there, you know, again, I know Disney gets a lot of hate sometimes because of some of the things that they do and all the things that they acquire. But overall, they've been doing a good job, and if you're saying they don't, you're just in denial at this point. For the most part, they've stayed true to the essence of all of their characters that they have purchased and or have created over the years. In my opinion, minus Maleficent, even though I don't think the Maleficent movie is live-action movie is all that bad, it just, from the animated to that, just kind of complete tone difference for me. But anyway, so guys, let us know in the comments below, what do you think is going on here? Do you think that we're getting Heroes for Hire? Do you think it's going to be a movie? Do you think we're getting movies of these guys? Do you think they're going to be showing up in the MCU? How about maybe going over to Hulu or to the Disney streaming service? I'm hoping that it is the Heroes for Hire, but if it's not, I think they're going to the Disney streaming service, personally. Whether that means the Disney streaming service 100%, I know that is what everyone is saying, that it's going to be its own entity, but there's still some people, and there's still a small percentage that Hulu could essentially morph into that Disney streaming service. Only time will tell, I guess, obviously, guys. So again, guys, let us know in the comments below, what do you guys think is going on here? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on this video, and click that bell to be a part of our notification squad, guys. We are coming at you with more videos this weekend, so just stay tuned and be ready, guys. The 31-day Halloween Horror Movie Challenge, the reviews are all coming to you within the next couple of days. Again, I know I'm behind on the reviews, but I have been watching them every single day. And also, you should be getting a pretty cool review of The Haunting of Hill House from Jay. Dr. J, he should be dropping that here shortly. He just finished that up. And, of course, don't forget to check out Daredevil Season 3 review by DPZ that dropped yesterday, guys. Till next time, I'm C-Dubbs, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace.